Hey everybody, this is Kirsten here. Thank you so much for joining me. This is a new episode of the Balanced Vibes podcast. Today we're going to talk about maintenance and why this can be one of the best things that you can do for your body, for your health. And I know that everybody is always about weight loss and fat loss and all that, but sometimes maintenance is the best thing that you can do. Even if it sounds boring, I think most everybody benefits from it. So this is what we're going to talk about today. I was thinking if I have any life updates right now. And honestly, it's really quiet right now. It's the end of the year, not a ton going on, but I do have kind of a new hobby. So I started going to salsa classes. It's been so much fun. So the way I found it was actually really interesting. So some time ago, I actually shared that I started learning Spanish because I got this feeling that I want to do something with languages again, want to pick up learning some or do something. And I started listening, a lot of, Spanish things on Spotify and bought an online course, started learning, and it's been going really well. And of course, then I got more interested in music too, started listening to that. And then, when was that? Maybe like a month ago when we were in California for a trip. My friend Steven invited us out, so we're going to hang out with him, have a dinner or whatever. And he asked, "Hey, do you want to go to a salsa class?" And I was like, no, I'm not a dancer. I'm not going to salsa class. I'm not moving well. I'm not well coordinated, whatever. So we didn't end up going initially. So we just went out to dinner. But then after that, he was like, hey, there's this really good place with great music and we can dance there. Let's go. And I was like, okay, cool. Let's go then. And he taught me a couple of steps there. We danced a little bit. Mostly I just messed up, did whatever. But it was so fun. And I was just thinking, well, I just started learning Spanish. I just got interested in this type of music. And there we are, a friend is now inviting me to a salsa class. And sometimes I think we almost like manifest these things, one thing leads to another. This is exactly how it has been happening. So now when I came back home, from California, I was inspired to look up a salsa class. And so I've been doing it now. It's been a lot of fun. And I think I'm going to keep going. I'm a total beginner. I didn't think I can do it, but it hasn't been that crazy hard. And I can even, get most of the steps. So it's been interesting. It's been challenging. It's been humbling to learn something totally new, but it has also been a lot of fun. So that's my little life update. So let's move on to today's topic then and talk about maintenance and why maintenance can be a great thing. Also, you don't always have to be in weight loss and in fat loss. So this is especially important for those of us who have been dieting a ton, right? I have heard from people who tell me that, for 2 decades, I've only been dieting and dieting and dieting. My thyroid is a mess. I don't have any hunger signals. My hair started falling out, and eventually I started gaining weight. And unfortunately, this is a really common story. It happens to so many women, and I hear from these people all the time, especially in my Fit and Fueled Facebook group, which, by the way, you are very welcome to join as well. So here, people are literally telling me, I'm 44 now. I started dieting when I was 20, and I have done literally everything, right? I've done everything. I've bought all the diet books. I've done everything that's been around, on the internet, everything that is celebrities have done. Of course, I've done the intermittent fasting and the keto, and the list goes on and on and on, and they've never had a break from it. And as a result, now their body is a total wreck, unfortunately. Now, I'm not saying that you cannot heal it. You absolutely can. And this is what maintenance is all about. But it may feel like, I don't know if I can come out of this anymore because it's been like 20, 25 years that I've been doing this. And this is painful, it sucks. I feel like I'm always so miserable. I feel like I always have to change something. I feel like nothing ever works for me long term. And on top of all that, now eventually have started gaining weight. And that's often when we reach that perimenopause and menopause time, mid 40s and beyond. We're like, oh my God, the things that quote unquote worked before are not working anymore. And now I'm just gaining and gaining and gaining. And a lot of the times what people are doing when they notice that, especially gaining around the midsection, they're like, oh, I just have to, push harder. I have to do more cardio. I have to burn more calories, and I probably have to cut back on carbs because they make me gain weight. So they are totally misinformed, unfortunately. They don't have to do these things. It's actually exactly the opposite that what you need to be doing if you want to get out of this dark place and heal your body and get, start even losing some body weight and body fat. Because when you keep pushing so hard and still keep dieting, your cortisol is super high, sky high, right? And you're only making the situation worse. So now when talking to a person like this, and they're telling me that I want to go on another diet because I have to fix this belly fat situation, or I have to fix this sudden unexplained weight gain, then to me, what I hear from it is that you have to get yourself to maintenance. You have to get yourself to maintenance. You're not supposed to be dieting anymore. You're not supposed to add another thing right now that is, going to take your calories down even more, or take your carbs down even more. You don't have to fast even longer to fix this. What you actually have to do is to get your body back up to a healthy place, do the rebuild or the build up phase, aka reverse diet, and you're going to sit there then for a while. You're just going to stay there and not think about weight loss, fat loss. So the way it works, and I have talked about, of course, the maintenance before too, or the build-up phase before too, is that you are going to bring yourself out of that dark place by gradually increasing your calories, which will boost your metabolism. But it will be a gradual increase, because if you increase very suddenly, very quickly, you're going to gain more body weight than what you'd like, right? So you're going to increase your calorie intake, and you're going to do only resistance training combined with walking. You can do yoga if you want to, that's totally fine, but you're not going to do the HIIT workouts. You're not going to run a ton. You're not going to do these things that further, increase your cortisol and make your body freak out even more. So you have to understand that getting up to that maintenance place is the healthiest thing that you can do for yourself. So now, after we have built your body up to the point where you are now at maintenance, you are no longer dieting. This is where you want to be for a good amount of time. Right? It actually may totally happen that during this time of building yourself up to that maintenance, your body is changing, and your body composition is changing, because you're taking your body out of that chronic stress state, which can already lead to some fat loss. Doesn't always, but that doesn't mean that this phase is not necessary. You still have to do this. A lot of times it does, because your body calms down. You're going to build muscle instead of doing the crazy HIIT and crazy cardio, running around like crazy on caffeine and adrenaline. We not want to do this. We want to build you up to the point where now you are eating enough, and enough for most women who are active is at least 2,000 calories, in my opinion. Okay, of course, like I always say, this is relative. I can't give one number for everybody, but this is approximately where we have to be. And this is your new maintenance. And if you still have further weight loss, fat loss goals, then now you have to be there at your maintenance. You have to stay there for at least 4 months. If you are being chronic dieter for longer than that, then even longer. And you may be like, I don't want to do this, but you have to. There's no other choice. You have to do it. You have to get yourself back up to the level of maintenance where your body's not screaming at you every minute because it was hungry all the time and overstressed all the time. You have to bring your calories up. You have to boost your metabolism, get to maintenance, and stay there for a little while. Like I said, the minimum is really 4 months. But if you are a chronic dieter, it may take longer for you to stay there. And then we build this really solid foundation for your future weight loss and fat loss, and we can start a healthy cut afterwards. So it's really important that you understand that maintenance is really great too. And you don't have to always think about only losing, cutting. What's the next diet? What's the next thing? I'm not happy with this. Give me the next thing. What are the carbs? You don't always have to do this. Sometimes the best thing is maintenance. And I know it can feel like, but I'm not achieving all the time. So this is a conversation that I had with somebody recently. She said, well, but I have to be doing something, right? This always has to be this like goal, and I'm working towards this one because, I have to. And I asked her, why do you have to? Why can't you just be at maintenance and for once enjoy what you haven't enjoyed in decades? Complete peace of mind, eating what feels right, but of course being reasonable, feeding your body, not being in a deficit, enjoying the hormonal benefits that you're getting from that maintenance. Well, let's talk about that too. What are they? Well, first we have to understand what happens when we are in weight loss, fat loss, dieting, right? Is that our thyroid hormones get lower and lower. So T3, if you always had problems with that, oh, my T3 is low, I don't know why, but I'm going to keep running and not eating and eating zero carbs. Well, there's your problem. It's undernourishment. That's why your T3 is low. So when you're dieting, that happens. Also, your leptin, the satiety hormone, will be lower. Your basal metabolic rate is lower. You have way less muscle building potential if you're always dieting. So now when we are at maintenance, we are eating more, our metabolism is higher, all these things normalize. So your thyroid very likely will go up and the T3 production is going to be more normal. Your leptin is going to be more normal. Your BMR will be higher. It will be higher because I'm assuming you're also strength training, you're eating high protein, you're going to have higher metabolic rate, which means that you're burning more calories at rest. And also you have way more muscle building potential. It's actually really difficult to build muscle if you're in a deficit. It's only possible for those who are totally new to training. But if you've been exercising for 2 decades and doing the crazy stuff and running yourself to the ground and dieting yourself into corner, then you're not going to build anything when you're in dieting phase. So now at maintenance, you have so much more muscle building potential. And you already know that if you have that muscle in your body, everything gets easier, right? You also have, by the way, way better insulin sensitivity because you have more muscle in your body right now. So everything in your body kind of comes back to homeostasis. And our job is not starting to like fight that immediately. Oh, but I don't want that. I want to lose more weight. And, I just have to be always like accomplishing that weight loss, fat loss related goal. It doesn't have to be like this at all. And I want to tell you, recently I've been so happy to see, some of my new clients are like that. They say, hey, I've been doing this for way too long. All my life, I've been only focusing on weight loss, fat loss. And I'm finally starting to realize that, I don't have to do this all the time because I put my body through a pretty bad hell, right? So now I just want to build. I want to get really strong. I want to build good amount of muscle. I want to feel good. I want to sleep better. People tell me all these things, and this is great, and I love it because your goals don't always have to be weight loss, fat loss. They can be, absolutely. I have nothing against them, and I help people with them every single day. But also, we have to realize that this can't be your only goal, especially if you have been doing this for decades already. So what can you then also expect? I already told you what your hormones will do and your metabolic rate will do when you are at maintenance. How does that then translate to how you're feeling every day, how you're doing? Well, you're probably going to sleep better. You are probably experiencing way less cravings. Your hunger is normal, right? It's normal. You wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I want to eat something. It's normal. This is normal. Not having any hunger and then later in the afternoon or evening having crazy cravings. This is not normal. Okay. Also, you're going to notice that your periods are better, your PMS is less, your hair growth is better, your libido is better, your muscle building, like I said, is better. So many things just normalize. And a lot of times people also tell me that their anxiety is way less, which I absolutely understand too. So there are so many reasons to be at maintenance and spend most of your life at maintenance and not worry about that weight loss and fat loss all the time. So what if maintenance is a great achievement? What if this is something to celebrate, especially after like years, even if it's just 2 years, doesn't have to be. I used to say like several decades today many times, but even if you haven't done this for 20 years, what if you, like the last 2 years you've been, dieting, what if like getting to maintenance and staying there is your next step and is your next accomplishment because you're going to feel really good. So this is the point I want to make today. Don't only think that it's all about weight loss, fat loss always. These are really some, phases that you can do if you want to lean out and, lose some body fat. Sure, absolutely cool, fine. Like I said, I help people do this every day. I've done this myself several times too. But most of the time, you shouldn't be dieting. Most of the time, you should be living at maintenance and enjoying all the benefits that come from it. All right. I hope this episode was helpful for you. Please let me know if it was. Also, join my Fit and Fuel Facebook group. I'm doing live videos there every single Monday, and sometimes I throw in a surprise video in the middle of the week too. But we have a lot of good conversations going on there. So make sure that you join that. Thank you so much for listening and watching today. I'll see you again soon. Bye.